Hey, welcome everyone. We are live from our Bay Area office. It's been a day since we have launched SASVA 3.0. Join us today in the most engaging conversation with brightest minds behind SASVA. Come, let's go.
So it's already been 24 hours and we are past midnight and we have made the SASVA 3.0 release. And today I have with me Nitish and Pratik. While we made the announcement, we have received plenty of questions from various sources and I'm just going to check with them or ask them about complete this questionnaire with them. So Nitish, it's already been 1 year since we released SASVA 1.0. How did it go?
Oh well, SASVA 1.0 was a very big release for us. As a company, we were trying to set some standards. The idea was to bring innovation and realistic sort of delivery together. That we wanted to bring AI in a way that it becomes usable to an organization like us. See, we are in a business where we build products, and building product is not just about writing code, accelerating developers' journey. It is also about getting that whole ecosystem together, right from product managers creating requirement, understanding how do you prioritize the requirement, creating a whole release plan, getting to developers, testing, CI/CD pipeline, getting all the way to post delivery. At some stage, we realized that there are hidden potential when it comes to assessment, when it comes to post delivery, the likes of support, professional services, and that is where it became interesting for us to start expanding into different areas. But one thing we did not realize that we are expanding and we are expanding fast. So it's been a tough last 6 months for the industry in terms of where AI is heading. We set benchmarks and we created some cool innovations around that. Today I can proudly say that almost every discussion that is happening in our company is led by this innovation.
So a lot since then.
And the industry is also moving at a very, very fast speed. So did you see that coming?
How did it feel?
I mean, we are surprised. We got surprised with the pace innovations are happening both in large organizations, the likes of Anthropic and OpenAI, as well as the open source community. No one saw DeepSeek coming on how DeepSeek can change the industry overnight, and how people start realizing that well, there is another dimension to it as well. Part of it we understood because from a technology standpoint, as you understand more, we were heading in that direction. So we anticipated that industry will catch up. But I think innovation obviously outpaced everyone, and that's how we also see. I mean, it was fascinating to see how industry evolved in last 6 months.
Yeah, and there was a time when we used to be very scared to wake up because every day a lot can change in the AI world. And we are always in the catch-up mode that we don't know how much it would have changed while we were sleeping. And it is really good to see how things are now finally standardizing. And when we started long back, we had our own versions of now what later on came to be known as context protocol or agent-to-agent communication. And now it's very good to see, how these things are getting standardized.
So tell me about SASVA 3.0. What has changed?
The whole industry has changed in last 6 months. As you understand, new innovations, techniques have come in. We realize that our traditional approach of enterprise specific workflow, they will have to change. We are looking at commodity market, how AI suddenly in last 6 months with the agentic things coming in, so many use cases have evolved and people started using AI for everyday work. You look at a startup now, a startup with 3-4 member team can build what in traditional days a startup with 100 people would do. Now we were looking at this world and realized that well, we have to transform our technology as well. It is no longer going to be an enterprise specific workflow. We are looking at consumer world where a lot has to be shaped around how a common guy uses the platform to achieve something that was not possible with a small team out there.
And the architecture also needs to be completely different because the needs of the architecture now are very different than how it is in the enterprise world. So we have to build it completely from scratch, from ground up.
So why ground up? Why not reuse?
So as I said that the architecture needs here in the consumer world is very, very different. It has to be completely open, not very enterprise specific, and it needs to be very extensible. And developers can easily extend it and customize it to their requirements. So we have in fact reused the underlying components. It is the same multidimensional deterministic engine and the brain that we have reused here. But at the same time, the need of consumer world, the interfaces, and for it to be completely open and customizable by developers is completely different. So we had to create that layer from ground up.
And you look at the business side of it. When we were positioning it to an enterprise, and I'll just take an example. You look at how assessments were done by large private equities, venture capitalists, when they are trying to look into any asset, the approach, infrastructure needs were different. You could put everything into a Mac Studio and ship it to them. Now, when you're looking at the developer community, when you're looking at a consumer world, when you look at commodity market, the need not only from the infrastructure standpoint, but their subscription, the way they interact, the way they subscribe to these values, they would change. For them, the assessment may not play a significant role, while it becomes a simple prompt for them that look at my repository and generate large scale diagrams, for example, right? So from that perspective, the approach will have to change, because the same assessment, your North Star, followed by release, followed by someone writing a code, testing, may not apply. A commodity market can assume that all of it is part of one single stack, and I want to use all of it together. Okay, so I am running a company with two engineers. They are my CEOs, they are my CFOs, they are my architects, they are my IT team, they are my support team. And these two guys will interact with the system to achieve everything that they can do with like a 30-50 member. That's why I think it was important to look at what we should reuse. As Pradeep explained, the science was reused, but what needs to be recreated is the user experience, the interfaces, how you are interacting with the system. That will change fundamentally with our 3.0, and we believe new interfaces will evolve in the days to come.
So how long did it take to build 3.0 and how many people were involved?
Yeah, that is an interesting question, because you were there in the flight together with me, right? We were coming from London, and this was a time we realized that we have to revisit the user experience altogether. I remember we all assembled in a public library, and we talked about how we can revisit what type of user experience can we bring in. It's been a month. We just completed a month a couple of days ago, and about how many people? 5 of us actually sat down, write code. We had the sixth one who was helping us coordinate all of it. So a 6-member team, just a couple of days, more than a month, and we have 3.0 live today.
And what is really interesting here is the profiles of those 6 members. They are not traditional developers. There are 2 product managers, include one being you, head of business, one architect, and one head of engineering.
Yeah, and that speaks the volume, because then you can understand what a small team can deliver now, and that's the beauty about how AI is evolving, and that there is no end to the type of innovations we would see in the coming days.
So that brings to that interesting question that did you actually use SASVA 2.0 to build 3.0?
Yeah, of course. We use SASVA 2.0 and we use many other AI tools and lots of passion to build SASVA 3.0.
So what do you mean by passion?
Passion is when you are not being forced to work, rather you enjoy it. And to build SASVA 3.0, we have really enjoyed working together, to collaborate together. Endless hours, even now it's 1 a.m. We have worked multiple times. We have done night outs, long hours. So that's how I define passion.
Indeed. So Nitish, next question is about why are we trying to get into commodity market? Are we going to compete against the likes of Cursor, Copilot, and Windsurf, and so on?
Yeah, that is an interesting question, but a long answer to that, because yes, we thought through it. Why are we getting into a market where the evaluation, assessment, everything is different? The benchmarks are different. The way people collaborate, what value we are bringing to the team. This is one particular thing where we realize that the core SASVA theme that Pradeep talked about, where the power doesn't always comes through running a very large model. You can achieve almost everything with a model that is hosted in a Mac Studio, which a model which is sometimes running on a CPU. A small 3 billion model can deliver almost similar result. So we are trying to see how commodity market is evolving. It is still exploratory phase. Developers are trying to understand the extent these platforms can do. They've not started using it to full extent, and they get costlier. The tools that you talked about, at some extent, they start charging you more for using premium models. And that is where we saw an opportunity right here. We realized that the core science that we have in SASVA is far more effective in this particular world, where now small models delivering better values becomes even more cheaper and affordable to this world. And that's where we saw that while SASVA could do so many things in enterprise world, it is exponentially valuable when it comes to commodity market. And that's why we decided to get into this world. And I genuinely believe, the tools that you talked about, they are good. Sometimes we partner with similar tools, sometimes we complement what they do. But when it comes to core product development, from planning all the way to delivery and post-delivery, I think, we have a very good formulas that we have stitched together. Our innovations are far superior. And we believe this market will see a huge disruption as things evolve and as people start understanding the real value of AI.
And because we had such a solid foundation already, and we thought, why don't we bring it out to consumers?
So tell me more about 3.0.
So one interesting thing about 3.0 is that it is not a product; it's a platform. It's an open platform, which is highly customizable. So each developer, each team can completely customize it to their own requirements.
So that means that we will have to compete against those billion-dollar startups with their speed and innovation. So aren't you concerned about it?
Well, who says we don't innovate? We have over 50 patents already. And by the end of this quarter, there will be many more coming to SASVA. Now, look at the interest stuff here. What is happening? On one side, there is a huge market, because this market has started embracing AI much faster than everyone anticipated. And on the other side, there are so many things that comes through your years of experience. I'll take a couple of examples. You look at how a very simple thing about finding a dead code, there are multiple strategies around it, right? One who comes with the best strategy is going to disrupt that market. They will be the leader of that market. Similarly, when it comes to designing new application, what people call vibe coding, even there is a huge market. When now a business leader, when you see them trying to create any application, if there is something that comes to their mind, that is where I think there is another set of opportunities coming in. Debugging, migrating from one technology to another. Almost every place we see huge opportunity that has opened up. And I'm not sure if the developer community is restricted to the traditional developer community. New roles are evolving, new ways of building product is all coming together. And that is where I think we are absolutely certain that this is a market to go after. We believe this product, the technology that we have, the type of innovations that are coming in, they're all going to help us in building something which is far, far more valuable than anything developer community has seen so far.
So 3.0 is live already.
Yeah.
So what can we do with it?
In 3.0, we have a concept of profile. So you can have a developer profile or a marketing profile. Now the question is, what is a profile? So profile is a combination of a mode, which model it will use, or models, what data or context it will get, and many other things like which tools, which MCP tools, which other tools, etc. Now let me explain one by one what each of these will mean. So let's start with mode first. So we have multiple modes. So we have a chat mode, which is more like a chat GPT. So you can ask questions and it will give you very detailed answers by combining all your data that it has access to. Then we have agent mode, which is very powerful. Now it will take action as well. So it can answer all your questions, but it will also take action. So it will get things done for you. It can fix a defect. It can analyze your very big repository, find out open source uses, and so on. And then we have expert mode, which is much, much more powerful than agent mode. It's like these. So it is for solving much more complex problems where so many agents will come together and get the work done for you. It will not leave you in between. So that was more about the mode. Then we have models. So we have various models of our own. Our models are affordable, they are fine-tuned, they are task models. You can deploy them on-prem on affordable hardware. You can bring them to cloud. You can bring your own models as well. We support all of that. We also support public models of all type as well. And then we support MCP tools, various other types of tools. And very interestingly, we support hashtag. Now, what is a hashtag? So using a hashtag, you can actually bring very innovative, customizable features into the chat. So for example, you can say hashtag create application. So it will create a developer specific application. You can say application create prod or test. So accordingly, it will bring in those elements, production elements, similarly for testing, etc. So that was in brief about 3.0.
So one of the things I want to add, look at hashtag, for example, what Pradeep talked about. When I am creating an application, again, going back to my example about startups, I'm creating a company. I have two individuals. They're trying to build production ready app. They don't have to learn about how a deployment should all come together, right? Mm-hmm. So on one side, my platform can create application for them. But on the other side, the nuances about how you put them into container, for example, Docker ready, when we say hashtag prod ready or production ready, this is going to bring all that dimension versus what Pradeep talked about. When you are doing something for testing, you may not need all that, right? You just need a simple application, something that I can run locally and I can test. Extremely powerful feature. Now, the thing that I want to conclude and sort of give you the real sense about 3.0, it is all about data. How do you bring data together? How do you bring organization context together? Use all of that to the mode that Pradeep talked about and achieve everything. I have a ServiceNow ticket. I want to relate that to my Jira incident, create incidents or issues. I want to bring it to a Git. I want to look at how developers are fixing. Use all that knowledge to do something. In past, you would need multiple agents to sort of collaborate and do that job. The power of 3.0 is connect your organization data, achieve end to end without any hassle. And what Pradeep talked about, right from you getting answer to agents collaborating and doing a task to something like expert, which can complete end to end, give a production ready infrastructure. That's the power of 3.0.
So that brings to another interesting question is that we are talking about developers, code, and everything else around it. And last time you were talking about expanding the ecosystem beyond IDEs. So tell me more about it. Where are we with respect to that?
Right. I mean, the user interfaces are going to change. On one side, developers using IDEs, they like using IDEs because it makes their life easier. But when it comes to business leaders, when it comes to sales, marketing, you don't want to give an IDE to them and say that we'll work on that, right? A simple thing like installation of any library is beyond their understanding. I think that is where we realize that everything you can do with IDs should be supported in different modes. With modes, I meant any user interfaces. Look at browser, for example. Look at ChatGPT, how easy it is for a business leader to log into a ChatGPT and do certain things, right? Now, just with that same interface, visualize that you have power of bringing organization content together and how you can stitch all of them together, create fancy reports, create something like an Excel, something like a converting it into a PPTs and things like that. That's where I think it is very, very important to bring all that dimension together. I have two of our gentlemen, I think they are in some sports arena, Eli and Bharat. You should hear more about what we are doing there when it comes to browser. And similarly, there are other modes that are all coming out there.
Hey Bharat, hey Lai, how are you guys doing?
Doing well. Hi Rima. Looks like I'm winning.
Oh, fantastic. Tell me more about the web interfaces we've built in SASVA 3.0.
Oh, definitely. So with SASVA 3.0, we have built a new web interface, which is going to be bringing a whole new experience to life. And I have my friend Eli here. We would love to go over the web interface with you now. So until our SASVA 2.0, you would have seen our extensions integrated in well-known developer IDs like a VS Code or IntelliJ. They were helping developers to write code, get inline assistant, and helping them resolve issues at a much faster rate. But what we realized is with not everyone lives in an IDE. Think about a typical organization. Guys like sales, marketing, support, or even business leaders, they don't use IDEs. These are guys who are on the move, like they are in a meeting, they are traveling, or they are working on a customer presentation. And what they expect is like a nice intuitive experience where they want to feed in organization data and they want to gain the intelligence and whatever capabilities a typical AI assistant will provide. And this is where we have our web extension coming in. You can think of it like any other AI assistant today, but this is like even smarter and even context aware.
And secure.
Absolutely. And what it helps is the business leaders to help in feeding any organization data that have, which may be in the form of tickets or can be customer proposals or documents, PPTs, whatever, and they can generate a report out of it in seconds. And it's not just for the business leaders. We still have the capability to support developers in our web extension, just like how they were doing in the IDEs. So a developer can still get technical assistant, debug code snippets and things like that with this web interface as well. And what we're trying to do is, whether you are a developer in an IDE or whether you are a business leader on the move, SASVA is ready to support you. To keep it simple, anywhere, anytime.
Nice. Do you want to add something, Eli?
Yes. The web application is built on the same underlying architecture and ecosystem as IDE. It provides consistent experience in terms of functionality and capabilities. And it has whatever the feature implemented in IDE, same thing it will get ported into browser version. It has a lot of tools and MCP server integrations. It is very useful for managers, business leaders, and a non-technical person to view SASVA AI-generated reports in their browser. It serves as a universal canvas for everyone.
Oh, that's great. So that's SASVA 3.0 web interfaces, universal canvas for everyone, anytime, anywhere. That's the power of SASVA.
So a lot is done already. Where are we heading?
One thing I would like to point out here is, getting some work done from a very big model versus getting the same quality of output from a smaller model. It's a very, very different work altogether. So you would agree with me that if you ask a simple question from a very big model like public model like Claude, for example, versus a very small model, you will get a completely different quality of response. So what we have tried to achieve in SASVA since the very beginning is getting the same quality from smaller models consistently what big models can achieve. That has been our journey, which we have tried to master.
And if you look at from the business perspective, as we started our journey with the software development life cycle, where product managers, where developers, testing teams, the deployment teams, professional services support, they were all using it. We are getting into a new world now with everything coming together. The concept of MCP, as Pradeep talked about, when tools are all exposed, people are creating more tools. We are allowing users, developers to bring their tools, bring MCPs all together. This is very, very critical for us to now start working on the ecosystem. So we started collaborating with lots of universities. Our journey started with roadshows there, understanding where AI is heading. So we are going back to universities. We are starting with bringing more of these quality students coming together. They are helping us look at data with a different lens. So that is one journey we want to continue. How do we bring organization data and achieve everything that we talked about? On the other side, when it comes to innovation, technology, we are on a roll. We are making sure that everything we do, right from what Pradeep talked about when it comes to model, the data that gets into the model, the tuning, the speed at which data is coming back, there is a lot of innovation that is happening on that side. When it comes to the user experience, there will be innovation. So these are few things that we believe we will continue to explore. And new interfaces. We talked about browser. You heard of what Eli and Bharat talked about. I think we want to now get into different modes. Your communication channels are another thing. So you will see a lot of ecosystems coming together. Partnerships is a way to go. As Pradeep also explained how we have exposed it now to larger models, public models. So we will continue to expand it. We will continue to partner with people who are innovating on certain areas. And from our perspective, staying core to our core foundation, which is deterministic AI, using the power of generative AI to achieve something significant. That's where we will be heading, and we are absolutely certain we have a solid roadmap planned for the next 1 year. I think there are exciting times ahead of us.
So I have plenty of more questions, but I won't hold you for long. It's already too late tonight. So thank you for your time, Nitish and Pradeep.
Thank you.
So with that, SASVA 3.0 is live.
If you have passion but no formula, follow SASVA. Thank you for joining us today. Signing off for now. We'll meet again soon.